Hi, everybody. I don't know what's going on. The live, when I hit the go live button, takes forever now. So, hi, it is Halloween. Rah, rah. Give all of those kitties as much poisonous sugar as you can. And then, when they start having behavioral problems, blame them. Yay. October 31, 2024. Yeah, I do hope that you're all doing okay. For those of you who are doing well, you're very lucky. Geofactor 3, Alicia DeMoss, and Analog Synth Player, and Tony Punch, and Sandra, hello. Angelos, hello. Justin Wynn, hi. Okay, Justin. Louisiana Skywatch, hi. James B., Barb in Ohio, hello. Kim Blanchard, hi everybody. Oracle 11, Christopher James, Hypocrites Matrix, hi. Julie, Wire Palladium, Silent Walk, Joni, hi everybody. Well, I have a lot. Weather warfare versus conventional warfare. Destruction is the same. Spain, oh boy. We're all in this together. All people around the world. We're all getting attacked. But let's look at radar first, and let me actually let you see radar as well. Here we go. This long line of storms has been at it for over 24 hours. What time is it? 5? Yeah, over 24 hours. Okay, right? That's not how it used to be. Here we have the swirling around, the landocanes. Look at the extremely low frequencies blasting away in Montana, California, and no severe weather alerts, which is good, but there were severe weather alerts last night. In fact, this was a video that I took last night at 8, just about like 8:50 p.m. my time in Idaho. Look at this. Look at all of these frequencies hitting this line of storms, line of supercells. That's how they manifest pretty much all the time now. Look at these frequencies blasting away in southern Idaho last night. Of course, Southern California, Texas. But these frequencies hitting this storm, and yes, there was damage brought by these storms in Arkansas and now I'm perhaps just Arkansas that I was able to find. Look at all of these frequencies. This is the part that mainstream media just completely forgets. Oh, no, they don't forget. They ignore. They ignore how these frequencies control these weather fronts to bring about an awful lot of damage. Frequencies midway up this weather front. So let's just First start with, yeah, an explosion, another explosion in a lithium battery recycling plant in Missouri.
Another one went on deep on the inside. There's fire from it. Boom! I got it. All right. I got it. Big explosions. Big explosions. I got it on video, baby.
And yes, evacuations were taking place. This is wildfires rage in Oklahoma.
Multiple wildfires are raging throughout the state of Oklahoma. Look at this video from Payne County. Dry conditions and strong winds have helped to fuel those flames. The National Weather Service issued a red flag warning for multiple counties in the northeast part of the state. Officials have urged people to evacuate. They also warned of the potential of more fires in the western part of the state today.
And there were, and I apologize because I wanted to pull this up, but I just wanted to see if any homes were taken out because these fires in Oklahoma very close to homes. So evacuations near Langston in Oklahoma, in Logan County, evacuations end 2 hours ago. Okay, good. My home and horses are all safe. Very good. Okay. All right, some good news on the weather fire front. Brush fires in Salem, Massachusetts. Really? These fires that are happening now in Connecticut, New Jersey, and Massachusetts are, well, let's just say this was not what I was living when I was living in the Northeast. And hopefully it will not ignite any homes or businesses. Now, possible small tornado damages homes in Prairie Grove, and this is in Arkansas. This was from last night.
In Prairie Meadows neighborhood on South Baggett Street, right across the street from the Aquatic Center here in Prairie Grove. And we've seen several homes with roof damage, tree damage, fence damage, debris all over the street. Now I'm going to take a step aside so you can see the extent of this damage to this home behind me. We're seeing maybe 3 backyards worth of damage with this broken tree, broken fences, lawn materials strewn throughout the yard. And people have been out here surveying the damage since the sun started coming up, really. Custer Street is the next street over here to the left. There's virtually no damage there. We drove through there earlier a few times, me and Melissa Hall, and we didn't see any houses with any damage. Now, the street to my right, Sedgwick, there are several houses next to each other that have roofs halfway gone, fences missing, even some vehicles have been damaged. And there have been people out here that say this neighborhood is a pretty tight-knit community and that this was a complete shock to wake up to.
I wasn't expecting this much when I got up. I knew there was a lot of wind, but I didn't expect the roofs to be gone and that. It is frightening for these folks, and I hope and pray they're all okay.
Okay.
Now we do.
Yeah. And unfortunately, well, maybe it's just because so much is happening and it's overwhelming in terms of just the weather. But you really have to dig hard to find, when you see those line storms, you can bet that somebody is suffering the consequences of those, and not just one person. So I finally came up with this, and I was a little surprised that I'm only finding it in Arkansas. So if you guys come across any weather going on in your area, or you just happen to come across it, could you just neverlosetruth@gmail.com? It's easy to remember. Send it along to me, because I am having difficulty finding the information that I know is out there. But okay, so here we are, Prairie Grove storm damage.
I guess a tornado hit. We was in bed and it blew the window in on us, and you see the results.
What were you thinking when all that was happening to wake you up like that?
It happened too quick. It came and went before you knew it.
And so you and your wife were here at that time?
Uh-huh.
And so everybody's okay?
Everybody's fine.
Just had a little glass and
Glass is all. It blew the whole window in on us.
and so then your roof is gone. And
Yep.
so what's your next steps right now?
I don't know. Just evaluating.
Okay.
Hadn't got any plans right now.
Wow. Okay. Yep. And just because it's just a few people, it does not matter. For these people, let's just say shit has hit the fan for them. Right? Here's another man on his roof trying to fix it. Straight line wins, they say. Straight line wins. Another home. So when you see these supercells ignite on the radar, which I'll post a link, you need to be understanding now that we're really living weather warfare. Okay, it's happening, and just be very, very careful, attentive to what's happening with the weather. Okay. Yeah, Prairie Grove.
Tiffany, from what we can see, the damage in this area seems to be from straight line winds. Lots of trees that have either been split completely or removed from broken off from the root. And then we've got fences that have just been completely knocked down. Multiple residents in this neighborhood behind me have spent the morning trying to clean up as much as they can and have even gotten someone out here to start working on their roof. So they're getting at it as quickly as possible. The damage extends throughout this neighborhood on Custer Street and South Baggett, and then goes further south. Coming up, you'll hear from residents that were affected by the storm and see more of that damage in south of this area. But for now, I'm live in Prairie Grove.
Okay. Taiwan, Super Typhoon Kong-Ri.
October 31st, 2024, Super Typhoon Kong-Ri made landfall in Taiwan, bringing powerful winds and torrential rain to the island. The storm, one of the most powerful to hit Taiwan in decades, caused widespread damage and disruption across the country. Taitung County, in particular, experienced significant damage.
Okay, so I'm going to post the link, and you can. There's a lot of damage. Yeah, every year, New Year's, I would say, yep, you can guarantee it's only going to get worse this year. And sure enough, I hate to say it, but I've been right. Every year, the escalation of weather warfare has been very intense. Spain. Really bad. 40 killed? No. Last number I heard was 150. This bridge collapsed. Mother and baby swept away in front of a helpless father. Can you imagine? I have a lot on Spain. I'm Western North Carolina and Spain, very similar catastrophe.
The catastrophic scene unfolding in Spain after more than a month's worth of rain in just hours. Look at the images tonight from the southeast province of Valencia. The muddy water rushing through the streets, cars piled up like toys. Tonight, the staggering numbers, at least 95 people are dead, thousands trapped. Here's our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, tonight.
Dramatic video tonight of catastrophic flooding sweeping across parts of Spain, leaving more than 90 dead, with many residents still missing. Streets swallowed by violent waters after almost a year's worth of rain fell in a matter of hours in one town, with parts of southeastern Spain deluged by rain and hailstorms. More than 2,000 people are reported trapped. The military called in to help, with more than 1,000 personnel assisting rescue operations in Valencia. Helicopters descending into neighborhoods, airlifting some people trapped in cars and homes. Others taken to safety by boat. Tonight, rescuers working to reach some 650 people trapped inside an IKEA store. And as the water subsides in some areas, the damage widespread. Cars tossed around by the floods, now piled up along the streets. Large sections of buildings, roads and bridges washed away, leaving many towns cut off.
David, the authorities in one area saying this was the worst natural disaster in 100 years.
Yeah, and mainstream media is on it. It's all about climate change. This is somebody just driving down a freeway in Spain. Look at all of the cars on the other side.
Dios. Va a ir todo bien, va a ir todo bien. Dios mío, mira lo que es esto. Dios. Oh, Dios.
Can we assume that all of those people were on the freeway when the floods came rapidly moving them along? Search for body continues. We're getting more mainstream media information on Spain than we got on what was happening in eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina. and upstate South Carolina and Georgia. Oh, wow, wow. Living hell.
Trabajó en la gasolinera de BP de Masanasa y ha venido de Río. Y entonces la puerta se ha descolocado.
You can read the subtitles, but he worked at a BP gas station. And he said when the floods came and just tore away the doors.
Y he pasado la noche casi con 2 metros de agua. Oye, de Río por no llorar, pero he vivido el infierno, ¿sabes? He vivido el infierno.
Esto es casa de mis padres. Es la...
Piles of cars all over this region of Spain. Aftermath of deadly Spain flooding. Look at these. Look at this is just a street, okay? It's just a street. And look at this. Okay, the force of water that can be caused by electromagnetic frequencies. All right. But I want where is it? Inspired posted a video. I don't know where he got this footage, but let's listen to this man first.
A house at the entrance of the town just disappeared after the flash floods, and there are at least 2 people still missing. Officials don't know where they are.
Residents say most roads were inundated, and a high-speed train with more than 200 passengers on board derailed, but luckily came safely to a stop. Officials have since raised the emergency alert level, restricting movement and suspending rail and air services. Schools have also been closed in the worst-hit areas.
Just an hour ago, the water was at this level. It could reach my ankles. But earlier, you couldn't walk here. The water was at this level. You couldn't even see the bridge. So the level's been going down.
Spain's central government has deployed specialized military units to help.
Look, this destruction is really... Do you remember, I think it was last year, Germany got hit with this kind of flooding?
Help local rescue teams reach dozens trapped in swamped areas, and heavy machinery is also being moved into towns to help clear debris. Spain's weather department says a rare cold front triggered the adverse weather, warning that such extreme events could become more intense with climate change.
How can we get people off this? How can we get people to even just consider that weather might be used as a weapon? Okay. Inspired. I don't know where he got this footage. It's pretty amazing. But it's another video where he's talking about weather modification, showing the evidence of weather modification, the documents. So thank you, Inspired, because all I keep saying is look at my playlist on Never Lose Truth, weather modification, geoengineering, directed energy weapons, all those playlists. And because I just, yeah.
Mira que crecía, papa, mira que crecía. ¿Tú crees que esto es normal? Mira, mira la calle.
I would go out and say, how can they even charge someone?
Just jumped 9 minutes.
Mira que crecía, papa, mira que crecía. ¿Tú crees que esto es normal? Mira, mira la calle, el médico. Mira la calle como va para abajo, de agua.
María, la furgoneta baja por ahí. Mira la que estamos librados.
Mamma mía, la crecía como viene.
Mira el chaval. Guau, qué locura, tío. Guau, 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 guau.
Camina para abajo.
Okay, so it is a very good video to circulate He goes into the weather modification, the laws, the regulations. Okay, we've got laws and regulations pertaining to weather modification, and people still can't. Well, yeah, demoralization. You can show them the facts, you can show them all of the documents, you can, and they just don't have the critical thinking to even consider it, right? Okay, the link is in the chat again. Fortunately, there are, I don't know if they're waking up to it, but I see more people posting about weather modification and weather warfare. That's good. But so many, I mean, on a daily basis, so many people are getting absolutely 100% destroyed. A river in Asheville is flowing in the opposite direction. We've seen this movie before. Electromagnetic frequencies can do that. Oh, let me go to another browser, and here we go.
The river is flowing in the opposite direction now. Strange patterns on the surface of the water.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I'm hoping someone's going to explain it.
So which way did the river used to go?
In that direction.
Whoa.
If you want to walk down here, you
Okay.
can really see it's changed direction. Yeah.
Due to Hurricane Helene, many areas in and around Asheville are geographically changed. But how does a river change the direction of how it flows?
What is in the air right now? Just dirt?
Toxic dust that we're breathing.
Whoa, why is it toxic? Where's it coming from? I do get a headache out here.
Yeah. Well, this is toxic dust that we're all breathing, and it's chemicals from all the manufacturing places.
The volume is very low on this video. I have it up all of the way, so I can't, control that. But you can read, okay?
That are surrounding Swannanoa. Some that were buried many years ago. So just a lot of chemicals. There's been a lot of factories here from Bacon, Rodeo, and TDP, Chemtronics, Purefot. List goes on and on. There's all kinds of factories here. So there's chemicals from that.
Chemicals in the river. From that, so Swannanoa, river flowing in the opposite direction. This is pretty amazing. A bull trapped for 21 days, somehow survived, but I think that the bull was in there with 2 cows or something, and I'll post the link. You can watch the whole video and listen. But yeah.
Get at least him out of there. I think the other 2 are not going to make it, but we'll update you in a minute. I'm going. Okay, we've got a log under the roof, and now we're going to go to another. See what he's doing now. He's rehooking it. He's rehooking it.
And now we're finding out that, and then we finally walked over here to document some of the devastation, and it got stronger and stronger. Corn? Huh? Corn? I don't think he needs corn, he needs water.
He's going to tilt that bucket over.
Yeah, that's the winner. Oh, he still knows how to hook. He hooked me with his horn.
Yeah, he don't want to give up that bucket of water. I don't blame him.
All right, buddy. I'm not trying to take your water away. Get your head on in there, buddy. If he got it a little bit higher, he could walk out of there. Yeah, we can. Looks like it's going to.
Wow.
He'll get his head out of there. I'll pull the water out, and I think he'll walk out.
It's truly amazing that this bull survived.
Talk about God being good. This is a miracle. Like Steve said, we were walking down here looking at all the damage, we kept smelling something and heard him, and we kind of squatted down and looked under the edge of it, and lo and behold, there he was. We're going to try to lift it a little bit more so he can get on out. He's wanting to come out, but he's just don't want to get down on his hands and knees and crawl out. I don't blame him. Maybe we can get it up enough that he can get on out. There he comes. There he comes. There he comes. There he comes. Oh, Lord, hold that thing up just a little bit longer, please. A little bit longer. Oh, thank you, dear God. You're wonderful.
All right, y'all have just seen a miracle from Hurricane Helena. This cow is going to make it. And this, by the way, was my #1 bull in building a Dexter herd of cows. Come on, big boy. There he comes. Now we can give him some corn now. Okay, he's made it to the pasture.
There he goes.
Made it to the pasture.
Gave him some water, and he's found his way out. He's heading.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Did I put the link in if you want to watch it to the end? 21 days. Okay. So, apparently, now, the latest and greatest, the linemen are on strike in North Carolina, Asheville, because FEMA is not paying them. FEMA has not paid them for like 8 weeks, and people are questioning, why is he saying 8 weeks? Because it really should be 4 weeks. No, if you listen, but we just don't have government that I don't believe we ever did, but at least we had agencies that were functioning. They don't function anymore, not for Americans. And this is a real, change in American psyche. They have to get their government is not there for them. So when they have these disasters, I hope they're prepared to get out and just help out and do everything that they can for their community members. But here, let's listen. I'm only going to play half of this. You can listen to the other half. But I guess this is the boss of a contractor that was hired by FEMA, and FEMA just has said, no, we're not paying.
Everything that they promised us, that they said they would come through with, nothing is being done. Well, the contract states that we would be paid next day, meaning that on 14 days after our first invoice, we would start getting paid. So that means for anybody that was here from the 7th to the 13th, that should have been paid this Monday or Tuesday. You should have some type of money. You should have some type of permit. They didn't pay it. They asked for another requirement stating, well, we need to use these codes and this has to be used. So we did that yesterday. We got that completed. We sent that in. Now they say, oh, well, from the 7th to the 13th, it's really such a mess. Why can't we just pay from the 13th on? And we're like, no, you're not gonna skip us on payments for a week when we've been here for almost 8 weeks working every single day. It's nonstop, anywhere from 12 to 18 hours a day. We don't shower. I mean, most of us are tired. We just want to sleep. You know, and now we're gonna get the sleep that we're due, but I'm not gonna allow every single person here to look at this parking lot. They came for me. They came for my name. Everyone knows that my name goes with integrity. It goes. I mean, my motto is integrity is the benchmark for success. So everybody trusted me on my word. So when they think that I'm the one that's not doing it for them. So I called the news. I told everyone here to call the news. Everyone will sit there and verify that I told them to all call the news, to stand together, to put your buckets up in the air, to put up a stand, and that we will not move forward. We will not lift a finger until the money is sent to us and we can pay and take care of our families. Because our families have been waiting for 8 weeks. How many of you have missed paying your mortgage? How many of you have missed paying what you have to pay to take care of your family? But yet we're here. We still continue to work every single day. We've been working how many more extra days? 3 now? When they promised us pay, did we get a single penny? No! Has anybody gotten a single penny in their No, 3 weeks, no one. Thing that I've done here, I have taken care of some people here and put their stuff on my credit card. I can't continue to do it. I'm not rich. I'm like everyone else here. Have I not been here every single day out there in the world working with you? Yes. I go out to work with them just as they go to work. So it's not like I'm some rich guy that recruited. Although these people came on my word because I said I would bring the people and we would help Asheville. Most of these people came, yes, we came with the money, but we came here to help. We came here to help. We saw the disaster and the catastrophe that happened. Stuck in the same disaster. So we all drove 18, 23 hours straight. No one slept. We didn't get a sleep. And then immediately when we got here, you know what we did? We went to work. We didn't sleep. We went directly to work because that's just what we do. What do we do as linemen? Work. We work.
So he said that on Tuesday, this past Tuesday, that FEMA said that they would be paid, and still they worked another 3 to 4 days and nothing. So they've stopped working and they're going to be staying there and they're not going home. They're going to stay there until they get paid. So they get hurt. The people of Asheville who still don't have power get hurt. This is our government. Remember, Kamala announced $150 million going to the Lebanese to help them, and the billions and billions and billions going to Ukraine, the migrants, Americans. You can't be in denial anymore. Your government is not there for you. We are being destroyed. And they're doing everything, taking all different measures, using all different methods to destroy us. And when you suffer the consequences, it is not fun. It's not fun. And your life changes in a big, big way. So I just posted this on Never Lose Truth, but I'll post the link and you can listen to the remainder of the video. And I'm only going, this is a 50-minute video, but I'll post the link, but I just want to play just this little section here. If you're close to Eastern Tennessee, Western North Carolina, donations obviously are helpful. Donations in money, donations in supplies, but donations in hand and time, that's what they need. They need hands on the ground.
I'm gonna try to keep you outside, bud. I'm gonna try to keep you outside.
All the insulation has to come out as well. It's all molding. That's what, and a lot of what you're smelling is the mildew and mold from the insulation underneath the house. Right, the subfloor, a lot of it's good, but the only way to get access to that insulation is all this has got to come up, right? So the entire house needs to be done, right?
So I want you guys to meet my new friend, Christy. She is a local here, and I just wanted her to give you an opportunity to hear from a local, and you can just understand where they're at, their thoughts. So I'm going to turn it over to her.
Basically, we are here in Irwin today, Bumpus Cove area, an area that was hit really hard in Tennessee by Hurricane Helene. And what we're doing is basically just, we're having to gut the whole house.
Yeah.
Anything and everything that has and can absorb water is going.
Yeah.
And
which is pretty much everything, huh?
Pretty much everything has to go. And it's honestly been people like us and wonderful people like, you know, yourselves that are helping to do this. One point I really want to stress is that this is a really important part of the recovery for us.
Yeah.
And while it's great that so many people sent so many supplies, we need hands.
Yes.
We really need people to be able to be here doing the physical labor and this type of stuff.
Put on the gloves and the boots.
Put on the gloves and get dirty.
Let's do it.
Yeah. That's really what the need is now. So if you're looking to help, obviously any help is appreciated. But if you really want to know what to do when you're local, just get your gloves, get your boots, go find somewhere to help. There's a bunch of people can point you in a bunch of different directions.
There really is, right? That's what we were saying earlier, is that we drove up Monday, not really exactly sure where we're going to go, but all you have to do is drive to the areas and just
someone
stop.
will know someone who's in need of help.
Absolutely. And there's so many people here coordinating that it'd be hard not to find somewhere that you can help. Well, thank you.
And I want to point out this woman, actually, with her husband, this woman, they drove 8 to 10 hours. So, yeah, to help out. And underneath this video, they list 3 organizations that she can personally attest to: Cajun Navy, Boone's Brigade, Samaritan's Purse. But yeah, understandably, they need people to come down and do help, you know, with their hands, get their hands dirty. And if you can do that, you can contact any of those organizations, or you can just drive on down. That's what I've been saying for years. When you see these disasters happen and you're, you know, relatively close by, go down. Go down. You know, don't wait. You'll see. There's an awful lot of people. You'll see them. It's evident, you know, that they need help. So, and people in Florida still have their homes underwater. Still.
It's been 3 weeks since Central Florida first felt the impacts of Hurricane Milton, but some communities are still underwater. Glad you're with us. I'm Lisa Bell.
And I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5:30. In Lake County, a road full of water is making everyday life difficult for seniors who live there. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez shares how they're doing and what they want to see happen to get results.
Residents in this Groveland neighborhood say this water started rising a few days after Hurricane Milton. It's still here 3 weeks later, and now they're hoping for some sort of relief.
Edwin Rodriguez has called Timber Village home for a long time.
You gotta be careful in here.
And he's never been ankle deep in water like this.
This is the first time this happened in 15 years I've been here.
It's impacting him and his neighbors all over 55.
This is a health hazard, and I got health problems. I had a triple bypass, I got a defibrillator on, and I got all kinds of problems.
He tells me he's angry that no help has come.
How do you feel?
I feel mad. because the officers don't want to do nothing.
Rodriguez wants the manufactured community administrators to offer assistance.
They said they were going to rent trucks to pull the water out and bring electricians to fix the pumps and stuff. And then they never did nothing.
I stopped by Timber Village's office, but they're only open by appointment and didn't answer my phone call.
At the tone, please record your message.
We did reach the city of Groveland. They explained since the overflow is because of a river still at flood level, the water can't be pumped out. News 6 meteorologist David Nazario explained that it's hard to know when the water will recede.
There's a bottleneck effect. You have the atmosphere fighting on one side and the actual mass and the density of the water on the other side, and that's why
They're purposely doing this. It's kind of like forcing upon an awful lot of people to believe in climate change. They could pump that water out of there, but they don't. And that's not the only neighborhood. In the live streams, I've included many broadcasts showing neighborhood after neighborhood sitting in water still. And of course, it's climate change. It's climate change, baby. Just believe. Just believe in lies. Climate crisis. I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired of the lies. Man, nothing can make life more meaningless than a whole bunch of liars. I can't even play this, but just saw the title. And, okay. Daily showers are purely performative and have no real health benefit. And what, okay. Experts say the daily shower has proven no health benefit, dismissing the dousing as a socially accepted practice geared towards staving off accusations of funkiness. As A-listers like Jake Gyllenhaal and Mila Kunis admit they've been saying no to the nozzle. Why are we washing? Mostly because we're afraid somebody else will tell us we're smelly. Yeah. I know, sweetheart. We're getting our first snow. Babe, in the last 5 minutes, he's gone out and then comes back in. About 3 times he's done it. Look, I'm up to here with the horse shit, with the bullshit, with the craziness, with the batshit crazies. I'll post the link if you want to read this. Maybe you're not up to here with it, but I really am. This life of ours has really turned into something that, yeah, some people can take. Some people can't. Now, I did post on neverlosetruth. Mpox traveled to the UK. They have a person. You don't get to know who this person is, what sex they are, what's going on. But a person has come down with Mpox, and they're in an infectious disease hospital. Well, if you haven't seen that video, here it is. The WHO activates global health emergency measures for the first time. This is the pandemic treaty. And I said in the video that it may very well be a test case. So I'll link below if you've not seen this. I don't think that this is going to be the declared pandemic. I think that, look, a lot of what these agendas require is keeping, their finger on the pulse of the public and how they will respond. So many people think the bird flu, the experts, former CDC director, oh, I see his face and I can't remember his name. He said it was going to be the bird flu, but we know that it's going to be something, right? Okay. Well, pay attention. But I want to shout out to Tony Punch in our chat, posted today. They're telling us they're going to lock us down again. Yeah. Link is in the chat. Come over and support Tony. Follow him on Rumble. And let's listen to what this man has to say.
Watch this psychopath right here.
What do we do if someone refuses to be tested? Well, they can't now. If someone refuses in our facilities to be tested, they have to keep staying. You either get your tests done and make sure you're cleared, or we will keep you in a facility longer. So I think most people will look at that and say, I'll take the test.
Did you hear that woman? The power trip that these psychopaths are on. They think they have the right to tell us what you can and can't do if you don't get tested for their bullshit fake diseases that they created, when there's natural cures all around us that would stop it all dead in its tracks. Who do these people think they are? Why have you given them power over your lives? Why did you bend the knee during COVID? They're about to do it again because you did that. They were seeing how far, COVID was just a test. They were seeing how far they could push you, how many of your rights they could take away before you revolted and rioted. And that's when they backed off, if you'll notice. All of a sudden, it's COVID, 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 COVID. Every time you turn the TV on, then one day when people started getting fed up and rioting, all of a sudden it's gone like it never happened. And you're supposed to just go back to work every day, to normal life, like nothing happened. It was a test, and they're about to pull a much bigger con on you. They're about to lock things down again using the monkeypox and the Marburg virus and all that. And they're going to push you even further and take more of your rights away. We have to draw a line in the sand. Now it's almost too late. Don't let these psychopaths tell you how to run your lives. We should be telling them how we're going to run our lives, not the other way around. Find a tribe, do something, get involved, help us out. Let's stand up to this tyranny.
A whole lot of people will comply, but I do want to inform everybody. I was just playing this video as an example of all of the disinformation, misinformation that people are posting on social media. Okay, this is new. Listen up.
More than 14 million children in 2022 did not receive a single dose of vaccine. Working together with partners like Gavi and UNICEF, we aim to halve that number by 2030. But you know the serious challenge that's posed by anti-vaxxers, and I think we need to strategize to really push back, because vaccines work. Vaccines affect adults, and we have science evidence on our side. I think it's time to be more aggressive in pushing back on anti-vaxxers. I think they use COVID as an opportunity, and all the havoc they're creating. More than 14 million children in 20.
Okay. Adults need to get in touch with their adult. They need to do some work to mature and to rid themselves of their childlike behaviors, beliefs. They need to recognize that these people only get the power because people give it to them. They hand it to them. That's it. This guy is a dictator. All you have to do is a little bit of research on Tedros to find out. He has no qualifications to be the head of the World Health Organization. All you have to do is do a little bit of research to find out. Grow up. And I'm not talking to only Americans. I'm talking to the world's people. Grow up, do some research, act responsibly. They have absolutely no right to tell us what to do. The only way they get away with it is by you complying. The anti-vaxxers. Gotta push against those anti-vaxxers. And remember, these are tremendously sick, psychopathic, evil people who don't give a shit about you. They're just implementing an agenda. Oh, John Kerry, no doubt they have an awful lot of secret information about John Kerry, especially, he being one of the skull and bones at Yale. It's so hard living this when just so many people are absolutely refusing to grow up. And it is a matter of growing up. It is not good behavior to just level insults at people who are trying to tell you the truth about what is happening, what we are living today. They're taking away all of our rights. You listen to this evil, subhuman thing right here.
And I think the dislike of and anguish over social media is just growing and growing and growing. And it's part of our problem, particularly in democracies, in terms of building consensus around any issue. It's really hard to govern today. You can't, there's no, the referees we used to have to determine what's a fact and what isn't a fact are kind of, been eviscerated to a certain degree. And people go and that people self-select where they go for their news or for their information.
How dare they independently self-select where they want to go for their news. John Kerry says, no, that's not okay. You can't select where you go. We will select it for you. Great.
Information, and then you just get into a vicious cycle. So it's really, really hard, much harder to build consensus today than at any time in the 45, 50 years I've been involved in this. And there's a lot of discussion now about how you curb those entities in order to guarantee that you're going to have, some accountability on facts, et cetera. But look, if people go to only one source and the source they go to is sick, and has an agenda, and they're putting out disinformation. Our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to be able to just, hammer it out of existence. So,
do you hear what this guy is saying? Okay. Well, the First Amendment is a block. We have to hammer out that source, hammer it out of existence so that we are the only voice. Okay? This guy's got the agenda. They continually speak lies. They're talking about the people who actually have done the research and have found out, whoa, man, they are lying to us. Let me tell you the truth. Hammer that out of existence. World Economic Forum. Oh my God.
What we need is to win the ground, win the right to govern by hopefully having, winning enough votes that you're free to be able to implement change. Now, obviously, there are some people in our country who are prepared to implement change in other ways, and
So
that's
you're
really
questioning
dangerous.
really if democracy can survive unregulated social media.
I think democracies are very challenged right now and have not proven they can move fast enough or big enough to deal with the challenges that we are facing. And to me, that
Challenges brought to you by people like him. Challenges brought to you by government officials.
that is part of what this race, this election is all about.
Doesn't matter who wins. It doesn't matter who wins.
We break the fever in the United States.
Oh God, don't you wish you could just get through to people? What seems very obvious these days, very flippin' obvious these days. Sorry, but yeah, things are very obvious these days. So yeah, let's just listen. Yuri Bezmenov, demoralization. And most people go around thinking they're not demoralized. And they are.
It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate 1 generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. Is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it until he is going to receive a kick in his fat bottom.
But to eliminate the others, to execute the others, don't they serve some purpose? Wouldn't they be the ones we rely on?
They serve purpose only at the stage of destabilization of a nation. For example, your leftists in United States, all these professors and all these beautiful civil rights defenders, they are instrumental in the process of the subversion only to destabilize the nation. When their job is completed, they are not needed anymore. They know too much. Some of them, when they get disillusioned, when they see that Marxist-Leninists come to power, obviously they get offended. They think that they will come to power. That will never happen, of course. They will be lined up against the wall and shot.
Ex-KGB, Soviet Union, and this interview was in the early 80s. And he said, it's already happened to the American people. And people who have been demoralized. A whole lot of people still stuck in the matrix are demoralized. We were demoralized. Ask yourself when you're in that mirror, looking in the mirror, am I demoralized? But any adult who can't even have adult conversation about what is taking place is clearly an adult that has just been taken over. They've lost their own self, and they have a brain that operates from mainstream media and government officials. They're puppets of the mainstream media and government officials. So there you go. And boy, do we need people who are not demoralized today. And yeah, we really are the bad guys. And this really is the evil empire. And this has been going on certainly my entire life, 65 years. But that's something that you really need to have to face. We are not the good guys. We haven't been the good guys. I think a lot of Americans are now coming to that fact.
The bad guys, and this really is the evil empire. Notes from the edge of the narrative matrix. It takes some learning and insight to understand that Western civilization really is the absolute worst. There can be a kind of hipster, outsider tendency to judge your own society more harshly than you do others. And at first glance, it can look like that's what's going on when you see Western critics of the Western Empire denouncing the criminality of their own government and its allies much more harshly than governments like Russia, China, or Iran. It's not until you've done a fair bit of research that you go, wait, okay, no, we actually are quantifiably much more destructive than any other power structure on Earth by an extremely massive margin. We really are the bad guys. We really are the evil empire. And everyone slamming our side as murderous monsters are absolutely correct. Whenever I say this, I get Westerners going, oh yeah, well, I'd much rather live here than over there. Or, well, if it's so bad here, then why don't you go live over there? But the fact that they immediately start babbling about where they'd prefer to live is just a symptom of how sick and twisted this civilization is. They're so cognitively and emotionally divorced from the violence and tyranny their government is inflicting upon the global South that they think the question of which countries are worse than others is a question of how pleasant it would be for them personally to live in.
And I would just like to say, also imposing it upon their own people, Americans. It's clear, it's obvious, and a whole lot of Americans want to just, I'm wearing my blinders or my rose-colored glasses to pretend that I'm still living in the country that I was born into. You are not. We are already a tyranny.
It's like, yes, asshole, it's very nice to be living in the imperial core that's receiving the benefits of mass murder and imperialist extraction.
But that was yesterday. We no longer do. Those benefits, we're not getting. Are you seeing how Americans are treated today? Okay, the benefits have been shut off.
It's less nice to live in the countries where the murder and extraction is happening. That's the entire fucking point here. It can be nice to live in the Western world, but the Western world is not nice. Ours is the most savage and thuggish civilization on this planet.
It's true.
And it's not even close. The Democratic Party really does look ready to lose yet another easily winnable election by running yet another awful murderous candidate with awful murderous policies, and then once again blame their loss on everyone in America who is a better person than they are.
And this is what goes on too. And yes, Trump is murderous. Trump outdid Obama, Obama outdid Bush on drone attacks, killing an awful lot of innocent people. Look how Trump talks about Gaza and Israel. Come on. Most policies of the blue or red team, they're the exact same.
Always having to search for photos of Israel's destruction of Gaza for my articles really drives home the fact that this didn't start last year. I'm always like, here's one. Wait, this one's from 2008. Wait, here's one. No, this one's from 2014. Oh, hey. Nope, different bombing, 2021. My first encounter with Israelis was when I was backpacking through South America in my 20s, and I remember being shocked by how consistently awful they all were. I guess after their mandatory military service, they tend to go traveling for a bit, and whenever I'd run into them, they were reliably some of the nastiest people I'd ever encountered. They weren't ever nasty to me, though. I am a white Westerner, and I never had a problem with them. They were nasty to the impoverished, brown-skinned people who were hosting us. They were obnoxious and bullying toward local guides. They'd leave the place in a mess, and they were always trying to screw over the locals for a better deal or extra meals or favors. One time they tricked a hostel into putting up a sign in Hebrew for other Israeli backpackers which said ugly things about our hosts. They told the hostel owner it was a great review, which I only know because they were laughing hysterically about it and told me. They consistently treated the people who were looking after us like they were much lesser than us. Their pushiness and entitlement were just unbelievable. It was a very educational experience for me. I knew the Palestinians were being treated unfairly because my father had told me so, but I also had a great love for Jews and Jewish culture. I had visited Auschwitz and Dachau and Anne Frank's house in my travels, and I remember having some romantic ideas about kibbutzim. This was my first time directly encountering the reality that there is something unhealthy about Israeli society. Not Jews or Jewish culture, but Jewish Israelis. Now I see evidence of this on my newsfeed every day, in the IDF soldiers prancing around in the undergarments of dead and displaced Palestinian women, in the AI translations of Hebrew tweets, in the polls which show widespread Israeli approval for the atrocities in Gaza, in Israeli TikTok videos mocking the suffering of the Palestinians, in the Israelis showing up in my comments justifying the worst things in the world in the most depraved ways imaginable. My encounters with Israelis in South America were an early taste of ugly things to come. Everything I glimpsed then, I've been seeing online over the past year. I keep thinking about those obnoxious pricks I met all those years ago, and about how they didn't know at the time that they were giving me very useful information for me to make use of in the future. When Israel supporters tell you to shut up about Gaza until you've been to Israel and met Israelis, just ignore them. Don't go to Israel. You're a Westerner. They'll be nice to you. You can just go to one of the tourist spots in the global south that Israelis like to visit, one with lots of brown-skinned people who've been colonized by the West, and watch how they treat people there. That will show you what Israelis are really like.
Okay, so, and I have heard from a lot of people who do not live in America, they live in other countries, they are not American, and wow, did they have a lot to say about American tourists. Loud, obnoxious, entitled, believing they are the superior people in the world. What America did is shocking, and no one's allowed to talk about it. Yeah. So, I'm going to play, but I will leave the link. You can listen to the entire 7 minutes, but what he has to say is very important for Americans to get. We have not been a good people. Yes, of course, there are good people, but on the whole, when we have sat back, been very comfortable, claimed that we cared, but did nothing, allowed our military and our government to take over countries, kill innocent people, torture, you know, yeah, you got to look at that. What's that about?
Gaza has changed everything. The genocide there is a genocide made in America, and people can see it. The empire has never been this exposed. From the moment we're born, we're told the United States represents freedom, democracy, and human rights. All that is American as apple pie, except it's a lie. Anywhere hope springs up, the United States will be not far behind to try and extinguish that hope. How can you think that the United States isn't an empire? It has a military budget which is the same as the next 10 countries combined. It has 750 bases in every corner of the globe. In Britain, we are completely controlled by the United States, and we have 12,000 troops across 11 so-called RAF bases, which are actually American bases. And we, the British people, are not allowed to know anything that goes on those US bases in Britain. I tried to request information from the British government about whether the US was using its sites in Britain to transfer weapons to Israel for their genocide in Gaza, and was told, we don't comment on allies' actions within Britain. An amazing black hole in British democracy and transparency. But that is because we are a vassal state of the United States. The Roman Empire, the Mongol Empire, the British Empire, none of them came close to having the reach and power of the American Empire today. The United States has never not been an empire. From the moment the British colonists set up Jamestown in 1607, up till now, they've been expanding. Initially, it was expanding westwards to cleanse what became the national territory, wiping out the Native Americans, putting them onto reservations, tricking them to sign treaties which deprived them of their land and resources. And then in 1890, the internal frontier was closed. Soon after, the Spanish-American War started, after which the Americans took on a number of Spanish imperial possessions, and that's when the American empire globally started. Part of the reason that the American empire is hard to see is it doesn't operate like historical empires. It does have some formal colonies, but it doesn't have loads. It's not like the British Empire. What it operates is an open door empire, where if a government does not allow US corporate and financial interests to penetrate their market in exactly the way they want, they'll come in and take them out, either through a war or through subterfuge done by their vast intelligence apparatus. We've seen this countless times throughout history, from the coup against Iranian democracy in 1953, to the coup against Chilean democracy in 1973, to the attempted coup against Venezuelan democracy in 2002, to the successful coup against Bolivian democracy in 2019. History is littered with examples of leaders who try to give the resources of their countries back to the people, and the United States and its allies come in and take them out. When the Soviet Union was defeated, the new war was the war on drugs. And actually, the war on drugs was just a way for the United States to have another excuse to station a military personnel in Latin America and other places in East Asia. In somewhere like Bolivia, when Evo Morales kicked out the DEA, production of coca went right down. The drug war has nothing to do with drugs. It's about enforcing US imperial control. And that's the case to today. After that, we had the war on terror, where Islamic terrorism was the enemy of the day. And then we have Putin, and now we have China. You're sold all these new enemies. But the point is not to vanquish the enemy. The point is we have to have an enemy to justify our increased control and penetration of the globe.
And now the American people are the enemy. Well, you don't rein in the evil just spreads, and it hangs about, and it stays, and it cements itself, and then it goes after those people who believe that their government and military are actually protecting them. I'm sorry, but anybody who believes that today has childlike thinking. All right, so I got to 3:45 with this video, and you have another 4 minutes, and he tells it like it is. Yeah, well, we have really needed to do that. So here is, again, The special rapporteur for Palestinians, Francesca Albanese, again, it's very clear that a genocide is taking place. The Palestinian people, very clear. And anybody who still argues that it's not, for sure they have an agenda, or they have this, belief system that allows them to go on believing all of the lies. But yeah, is it possible that after 42,000 people killed, you cannot empathize with the Palestinians? Anybody who's believing that all of the student protests on universities and colleges, not just in, the US, but also in Canada and the UK and other places, that they're the terrorists, the protesters, they're the terrorists, and they have to be stopped because they're anti-Semitic? There's something so grossly wrong in that mind that thinks that way.
And frankly, I'm shocked. I always experience a sense of shock and delusion when I come to this room, because many of you recited the same script that you had in front of yourself last year. Of course, we condemn Hamas attack. Of course, we express solidarity with the Israeli victims. Of course, we demand the release of the hostages, both the Israelis and the Palestinians. But is it possible that after 42,000 people killed, you cannot empathize with the Palestinians? Those of you who have not uttered a word about what is happening in Gaza, demonstrate that empathy has evaporated from this room. And empathy is the glue that makes us stand united as humanity. But don't worry, you can continue and you will become more and more irrelevant to the rest of the world, which is in turmoil. And it's not just the global south. Look at the young people in Europe, in Western countries, those to whom many of you, including my own country and Germany and France and the UK, are demonstrating that human rights are good to be taught in schools and universities. But don't dare you trying to exercise freedom of assembly and freedom of expressions in your street, all the more for Palestine, all the more touching our ally Israel. This is what you are telling young generations.
Absolutely. Genocide as a colonial eraser on Democracy Now! This was the hardest betrayal for me to get. Yeah, she's quite good at telling the truth about an awful lot of issues, subjects, agendas that are taking place, but not climate, not the weather. She is a climate change propagandist. But when truth is spoken, for years, I couldn't even play this one. Oh, I donated to Democracy Now! As that liberal Democrat, I saw Amy Goodman as an angel, integrity stamped on her forehead. Yeah. I'd like the money back that I donated. But here, she does interview Francesca Albanese, and the world is watching a genocide on social media today, which is bizarre and surreal. And we get so desensitized to all of the suffering that is taking place in this so-called conventional war. And I think many have been desensitized to those who are suffering under the weather warfare. We have to somehow, get ourselves back. Once you become desensitized, you lose your humanity. You don't want to do that, right?
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.
And I'm Nermeen Sheikh. Welcome to our listeners and viewers across the country and around the world. Israel's deadly siege on northern Gaza has entered a 26th day.
Let me give you a specific example, because you asked me to comment on the...
But earlier today, week, the World Health Organization managed to deliver some medical supplies to the Kamal Adwan hospital. But earlier today, Israeli fighter jets bombed the hospital's 3rd floor, where the supplies were being stored. Meanwhile, Al Jazeera reports Israeli forces are continuing to shell Beit Lahia, the scene of multiple massacres this week. On Wednesday, an Israeli attack on a market in Beit Lahia killed at least 10 Palestinians. Earlier in the week, Israel struck a 5-story residential building, killing at least 93 people, including 25 children. Meanwhile, at the United Nations, the UN Special Rapporteur on the occupied Palestinian territory, Francesca Albanese, has released a major report accusing Israel of committing genocide. Albanese concludes that Israel's war on Gaza is part of a campaign of, quote, long-term, intentional, systematic, state-organized forced displacement and replacement of the Palestinians, end quote. The report is titled Genocide as Colonial Erasure.
And it's not the first report. I mean, this has been going on now for such a long time. And the evidence is in, they are committing genocide. You have institutions, you've got organizations that have come up to, look at this report, look at all of this evidence, genocide. And it still goes on. The empire is losing its power. And yes, remember Biden, who said, if Israel didn't exist, we would have had to create it. Israel is strategically placed in the Middle East for the United States. We are just as much responsible for what's going on. The link is in the chat if you want to listen to Francesca Albanese. Yeah, this is... In 2003, shock and awe. USA, USA, USA. Blowing away Iraq, killing innocent people. Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11. And there we are, glued to our TV sets, watching CNN, shock and awe. Demoralized? Desensitized? Inhumane? Absolutely. And then when we found out, it was all based on lies. Gotcha. We did nothing different. So we've been watching all of these people die in our name, and you can't get away from it. So we just go about our business, living our lives, as if nothing, it doesn't touch me. And look, Bush said, we've got to fight them over there so they, we don't have to fight them over here. And after 9/11, he did say, go shopping. Go shopping. Okay. Standing on the rubble of the World Trade Centers. Go shopping. show those terrorists that they're not going to change our way. The consumers just went shopping. What a weird country we've lived in and have been indoctrinated in and inculcated into very inhumane ways of living. And social media posts from the Israeli soldiers that have been so hard to take. And now they're apparently surprised to be identified online, identified in real life, for their disgusting, psychopathic, immoral behaviors of all of those posts, which I posted a lot after October 7. But, oh boy, they continued.
Haydi.
Three photos that make me go, I did that.
This has been described as the first live stream genocide in history, and I believe that to be true.
To have that is something which I think prosecutors will be licking their lips at.
The mentality is not all that surprising or shocking to me. It's hard to see it, but we sure did get a taste of it. The Iraq War, Afghanistan, Abu Ghraib. Look at how the Americans, they were laughing and posting, these taking pictures of the naked Iraqis that they piled up. Okay. I think that, that thing about the righteous judgment, righteous anger, you got to remove the log from your eye before you can actually see clearly enough to have righteous judgment. And I think the same holds true for your country. But yeah, I mean, indoctrination, war can do a number on one's brain, on one's moral character, if they have it. But anybody in war that is laughing about killing people, no, they do not have any moral character. None. And And I'm going to play a few minutes of this. Here's another one who quit. I served 16 years in the Air Force and left because of Gaza.
So we're working on technology in the United States that we have a lot of constraints for safety and things that if you wanted, from a purely kind of pragmatic, like better test data, they could just go test it in Israel. And me making something more efficient or lethal or whatever could have direct consequences on Palestinians in Gaza or the West Bank. And so, yeah, to some degree, I did feel complicit. And I think Gaza is just, again, disproportionately what they're doing with some of their drones and their AI targeting systems, Lavender, Gospel, like learning more about that and seeing the parallels to the research and the work I was doing. That was a shift change for me, where it's like, I'm not just going to leave and be quiet about it. I actually want to make some noise.
The military there has been using an AI program called Lavender to identify its targets. The revelations about how the AI system makes those calls, the loss of innocent lives baked into the decision-making process.
A second AI system known as Where's Daddy tracked Palestinian men on the kill list. It was purposely designed to help Israel target individuals when they were at home at night with their families.
Again, I think October 7th was really kind of the turning point of re-examining some of the forces and the stories behind the oppression of the Palestinian people that really kind of made a lot more sense to me. I got a text from my wife the morning after. She's like, do you turn on the news, you see what happened in Israel? And so obviously jump on, start scrolling, start texting a bunch of my friends. Obviously it was horrific. That being said, some of the responses from my Israeli friends really, really scared me. Just the language that they were speaking. The response by Israel is always disproportionate. The level of damage that Hamas did, the level of death the response was going to be, I didn't imagine it be as bad as it was or last as long as it has, but I knew it was going to be really bad. The thing that just stuck with me is October 6th was really bad in Gaza. It's been an open air prison for a long time, but I knew it was bad to begin with, right? And they were kind of at the total mercy of Israel.
Her name is Hind Brajab, and she was just 5 years old when she was killed with her family trapped in a vehicle.
الدباب وين؟
It would be 12 days before Hind and the two paramedics' fates were confirmed, when Israeli forces left the area and civil defense workers were finally able to make their way to the site.
Hind Rajab is a really, my daughter's 5, so it's that's my daughter, my son he's nonverbal, has some other disabilities. The Mohammed, the boy who was killed to death by a dog, that's my son.
لما مسك ايده الكلب صار يشد في كتفه يشد في كتفه والدم يسيل يقول له خلاص يا حبيبي يحسس على راس الكلب.
And it's I think just the arrogance of the IDF, the people, they're posting this stuff, right? They're flaunting it, honestly. They don't care. It's just so evil. Just tugging my babies at night. I don't have words. And I think every single time something happens to my kids, right? My son sprains his ankle or whatever. My daughter says, I'm thirsty, Dad. And it's just I can't imagine, right? I can provide for my kids. We have everything we need. We're sleeping through the night. Just the agony of parents, let alone people, kids are under rubble, or I just honestly, it overwhelms me sometimes. I don't even think about it, but it's really, really hard. I don't know if there's a way for America to come back from this in the sense of our reputation on the international stage. We've completely trashed these institutions like the International Criminal Court, the International Court of Justice, right? The UN, for the benefit of what, right? To protect someone like Netanyahu and what Israel's doing. I hope that Palestinians can have the determination and autonomy to live their lives. And I think there's Palestinians are just like, like me, right? They have families. They want to do things with their life. They want to be messed with by, occupying powers. I just see so much clearly how our liberation or their liberation is bound up in my own.
Yep. U.S. ambassador to Lebanon promotes internal uprising. This is what we're good at. This is what we are. This is who we are, okay? Look at Libya. Look at Syria. That has been ongoing for many, many years. Look at the destruction that we bring in the name of democracy. We're such a farce of a people. In discussions with Lebanese politicians, Johnson, that's the U.S. ambassador, reportedly said, Israel cannot achieve anything or everything through war. It's time for you to do your part and launch an internal uprising under the banner of enough. Get the Lebanese people out on the streets screaming, enough. The ambassador added, the Lebanese people must show their desire to rise up and get rid of Hezbollah and return to the context that emerged after the assassination of Rafik Hariri, especially since the regional, international, and field circumstances are in your favor. According to the source, the ambassador asked the politicians, why do you seem afraid? Hezbollah has been defeated. Its leadership is destroyed, and we are with you, and the entire free world stands by you. If it's destroyed, why is Israel continuing to bomb residential areas in Lebanon? About 80,000 evacuate an ancient Lebanese city of Baalbek as Israel unleashes huge airstrikes. But the U.S. ambassador to Lebanon said Hezbollah has been defeated. You have to be at a really profoundly deep level of evil to take out these ancient cities. But we did that in Iraq. Video shows Israeli strike collapse, Beirut building, residential building. Israel is wiping out entire centuries, old towns and villages in South Lebanon. The erasure of history and heritage. So, Israel bans aid groups from Gaza, kills over 1,000 in North Gaza siege. Just today, it bombed a hospital, which meant that all of the medical supplies are gone. And yeah, the continuous air bridge of U.S. arms to Israel. I'll just play a few minutes. I'll post the link. If you don't know the gray zone, There are a few people that I actually trust. And yes, Max Blumenthal, Aaron Mate, and a few others on the reporting. I mean, after all, they are Jewish.
This is basically being accepted by the U.S. even as they oppose it. I mean, look at what's taking place in Jabalia. Look at these scenes. This is an academic named Nicola Perugini. Jabalia, Palestinian men separated from women and children and transferred to torture camps by Israeli military as part of the ethnic cleansing of Gaza. These are just packs of men. It's told, Israelis are told these are Hamas fighters. They're just any man. It's any man between 18 and 50. Sometimes they're children and they're even younger. And they're all going to be brutally tortured. Then we can see scenes of women and children and anyone else, the elderly, being driven out to who knows where, south to Gaza City.
Is there any difference between seeing an awful lot of people loaded onto trains and seeing all of these people loaded onto trucks? Okay. Anybody who supports this is absolutely taking on the Nazi role. And there are an awful lot of Jews who do not support this, and they are out screaming. And probably a lot of them, feel very similarly to me, which is like, you're looking at this and it is unbelievable that is still going on. Really? The world can't stop the world? Hey, stop Americans, stop the Israelis from doing this? Really? You do know that much of the world sees us as the evil empire, as you're being told that, oh no, the evil empire, it's Iran and it's North Korea and it's Russia. And you believe that horseshit? Not that they're sweet and kind and moral and wonderful, but they're nothing like us. Nothing. And of course, so if North Korea joins the war with Russia, Pentagon warns no limits on Ukraine support, while it trashes Americans and destroys Americans. It's all for Ukraine. It's all for killing, off the Palestinians. And now we've got Lebanon, and also Israel is bombing Syria. Oh, yeah, and Iran. And Iran, I did see this article today that I didn't get a chance to read, but it was Iran coming out and saying, we will retaliate in a big way in the next couple of days. Israel's retaliatory strike on Iran. And everybody thinks that this is just fine. This is what we have to live because of these evil. What are they? I don't even know. I can't call them people. Can't call them people. And here, Washington approves weapons sale to Saudi Arabia following Iran-Saudi drills. They're all working together. We're just watching, this. Unfortunately, it's kind of, well, in reality, We're watching a non-fictional, fictional show. So Saudi Arabia has, Iran, Saudi Arabia, they were enemies. Then they made up, and Saudi Arabia conducted drills with its rival Iran in the Sea of Oman in a sign of warming relations between the regional powers. And following that announcement, Washington approved a massive arms sale to the Gulf Kingdom. Really? That seems a little strange, doesn't it? It's like after October 7, the United States sent like $150 million to Hamas after October 7. And here, our big enemy, Iran, but it's fine. We're going to send, what is it, 400 million? 500 million in military aid to Manila. Oh, that's a different, well, we're just, give away our money for killing people, but don't pay the linemen in Asheville, North Carolina. That's restoring power to people who've been out of power for over a month. Okay. Well, I don't know what's wrong with Americans' brains, but if they can't see that they are being grossly lied to, that it's a stage show that they watch our politicians, perform in front of them, and yes, Iran, the great enemy. Oh, we're going to protect Israel from Iran, but we're also going to give a whole lot of money and weapons to Iran, Saudi. It's still giving it to Iran. Okay. It's a shit show. I would love to be able, to come out of this reality, but I'm stuck in reality, and that's been, kind of my curse throughout life, getting more and more and more clear about reality. And I'm not saying that I see it so clearly. I'm saying that, wow, when I look back at who I used to be, what I used to do, how I used to be, it takes a lot of work. Unfortunately, it takes a long time, but that's what we have to do. That is the solution that no one wants to hear. Work on yourself. Live honestly. Speak honestly. Develop yourself as a trustworthy human being. Don't assume that you are. If you've never done any work on yourself, you're not, because you don't even know who you are. You don't even know who you are. So, this is life. And boy, it ain't going to get any better. And we all know that. So we've got to help one another. We've got to get out into our communities, help those in need, extend yourself. Yeah, you got to drive a bit to be on ground and help out with your hands, and in an awful lot of places that are, that have been destroyed in this war. Enemies within attacking Americans. And do what you can to help your own community, the food banks, the animal shelters. I don't know, the nursing homes, the elderly. Get to know them in your community. Watch out for them. And in all of it, be as safe as you can be. Awareness of your surroundings. And on that note, I say, thank you for showing up. I hope to see you tomorrow night, and good night and good luck. Ciao, guys.